Hi, everybody. Welcome to No Story is Sacred. If you've never listened before, basically we're four siblings who grew up talking about the art of storytelling. Now that we're adults, we're still talking about it, and we're inviting you to join the conversation. I'm Kat, and occasionally I cosplay as a real author.
I'm Brendan, and I am a Shenangineer.
I got you to say Shenangineer.
What's that?
Nothing.
Do you think it actually should be Shenanigan or should it be Shenanigan? Now I can't say. Since Shenanigan is a hard G.
Yep.
But Shenangineer is a soft G, and it's like, it feels weird.
Yeah, but it's shenangineering. I think we can all agree with that. Sorry,
Command to Shenangineering? We need more power to the nacelles.
Oh my god, now we know what Scotty's doctorate was in. Master's.
Shenangineering, yeah.
Sorry, it's a master's. He's an engineer.
I can get a doctorate in Shenangineering.
But that's if he's going to go on to teach Shenangineering.
No, it's an honorary doctorate.
Oh, okay.
From Shenanigan University. Shenanigan.
No, he's got an honorary doctorate in goofs.
I am going to pistol whip the next person who says shenanigans.
The true Star Trek way. Anyway, I'm Pippin.
Okay.
And I feel like that's all I have to say about it.
Do you want to try again?
I'm Pippin, and I don't write, I just help others achieve their true writing greatness. So all of Kat's victories are mine.
Wait a second. I'm not the one with editors who are actively asking for my books, Pippin!
I'm not the one who's got stuff out on submission waiting to be sold.
Fuck off.
Alex, it's your turn.
I'm Alex, and I say that I'm a writer, which we all know what that means.
It means that you are. If you write, if you feel it, you are. You may not be professional, because you haven't sold anything, but you are a writer.
You know, here's the thing, just as a little tangent before we dive into this, I remember one thing that a professor of mine, Jesse Schell, had told us once in game design class, which I guess makes me sound a little bit pretentious, but whatever, I'm rolling with it, was that at the end of the class, it's like, you're gonna have us all sit there, and it's like, okay, I know you probably don't feel like game designers, but I want you to imagine that you have just been given this ring. Now put that ring on. Congratulations, you are now all game designers.
Aww. That's really cute.
I love that.
Kind of bestowing the title to yourself.
But also giving a tangible, there is no official, congratulations, you did it. I mean, possibly people who get MFAs try to tell you that, but that's not true.
Nah.
There is no official, congratulations, you are. And I mean, the downside to that is that there are several people who are published, who are award-winning, who, rock back and forth in their closets on a daily basis, wondering to themselves, but wait, am I a real author?
One day they'll all find out that I'm a sham.
Yeah.
But that's the truth, Pippin. We're all shams.
We're all shams here.
Wait. If we're all in the simulation...
Uh-oh.
Does that mean anyone is ever actually a writer?
Yeah.
We're all writers.
Wait, if I'm a sham, if I'm a sham and you're a sham, then who's driving the car?
The gay cousin is. So
fair enough.
Right. So continue.
Wait a second, they can't drive. Anyway.
What are we talking about today?
No, we're not done actually introducing ourselves, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, that was Alex.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
You were the top.
Damn it. Okay. Today, we're talking about a story of my devising, unfortunately. If you want specific content warnings, check out the show notes on nostoryissacred.com. However, I can say that we're going to be saying the word shenanigans way too many times.
Indeed, we already have.
Indeed. So really, I mean, if you thought you were done with it, you are not. And in addition, the story that we're going to be talking about is a historical romance of a well, of a risque nature.
Ooh.
So,
The exact sort of thing you want to talk to your siblings about.
I mean,
I don't
God.
think we'll go into those kind of details.
No, I mean, we're not. It is actually just plot. However, aspects of the plot are an important part of the shenanigan. So, do you guys want to know what the basics are here?
Sure, I of course read your supporting documents before going in, but the audience,
fucker,
the audience needs to know.
The people have a right to know, Kat.
They deserve the truth.
You can't handle the truth. I've never seen that movie.
Neither have I.
I think both Al and I have.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've seen the clip.
We've all seen the clip.
I mean, I only recently saw the clip, so.
Wow. Alright, so, as I put in the supporting fucking documents, Pippin.
I've got it open.
Wow. The TLDR of this, okay, is that I need a shenanigan, which I will define shortly, that allows me to go from new opening chapters that I have written for this book to the old completed draft without rewriting the entire fucking thing. Now, I wrote new opening chapters because I wanted to change the personality of my main character, main dude character rather, to be less of a downer. And I wanted to change some plot things later on, so of course to do that I had to, foreshadow in the earlier chapters. In doing so though, I kind of fucked up the rest of my book.
Whoops.
What? And
Happens more often than you think.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, my completed manuscript is upwards of 98K, so I really don't want to have to rewrite the entire thing. I think I can solve this all with just a revised shenanigan. And we're gonna dive into that. So, many romances or relationship-focused stories of the fun variety that I happen to like have some sort of shenanigan type of ridiculousness that requires that the two main characters spend time in proximity to one another. That's how you can get, these two crazy kids falling in love even though they've only been together for like 2 weeks. Okay? This is an expansion on the meet cute. The meet cute's how they meet, but how do they stay together? That's the shenanigan. For instance, you can think of fuck or die scenarios. Really great.
Woo!
Or the you must marry before your 21st birthday or else you will lose your inheritance.
It happens more often than you think.
Indeed.
It's true.
So it's usually extremely silly, but the reader applies their, we've talked about this before, believability budget, and kind of lets it go. The believability budget being like, you get so much bullshit that the reader will let you get away with.
What was the shenanigan in that Ryan Reynolds one that's in Alaska?
Oh, the shenanigan.
The proposal.
In the proposal,
she needed to have, she was a Canadian citizen, she needed an American, it's an immigration thing.
Yeah, so it's a green card thing, but the reason that, they have to spend time together is that, in order to make it look good, it has to make sense, right? They have to actually spend time together. And for months now, Ryan Reynolds has had planned a trip to his family in where the fuck he lives, Alaska or something. And it would make no sense if his fiancée of many months before she found out that she had a green card problem was not going. So naturally they have to go and spend time together with his family.
Yeah.
I should rewatch The Proposal.
It's so good. I mean, it's garbage, but it's great.
Well, yeah.
But you're not making garbage here.
No. Mine's genius. So, generally, for a really silly premise like that, you have your characters act logically from that point on, and that's where the reader can settle in and trust the rest of the story. So you get the ridiculous moment, and then provided everybody else acts normally, within the bounds of that stupidness, then the reader's like, cool, I'm in. In science fiction, it's like, by the way, we have faster than light. And everyone's like, we do? Yep, we absolutely do. Okay then.
I remember watching an episode of, actually, where someone, I think it was Brendan D. Mulligan.
Brennan.
God damn it! Listen.
All Brendans know each other's names and variants thereof.
And we also know when other Brendans are fated to die. Yes, this is known.
You weren't supposed to tell us.
One. But he was talking about something similar in improv, where people will people have the ability to question like one thing, two at tops.
Well,
so he used the example. Let me finish my side. He used the example of like science fiction Star Trek. It's like, well, how does that ship power? And it's like dilithium crystals. So we're like, yeah, okay.
However, it's like the improviser has entered the chat.
Yes. Well, you kind of delve more into this in long form style, where like you basically find like the one weird thing, and you just stick to that. You don't want to keep on throwing weird stuff at the audience, because then they just get confused, and the scene is it's going to end up being garbage. It's also why you typically get the goofy person who's sticking to this new weird reality of like, oh, I'm wearing pieces of toast as shoes. What else is true about this world now that toast is footwear?
The soles are made of butter, because the toast always lands butter side down.
Of course. See, it makes sense, Pippin. You get it. And you might have like one person who kind of acts as the audience surrogate going like, wait, what? You're wearing toasts?
So
shoes?
Everyone goes around as if they're wearing Heelys because they're so slick because of the butter.
Yeah.
See,
yeah, it makes sense.
I will point out two things. One thing is that this doesn't quite work with, I don't think, with Middleditch and Shorts, if you consider the Alien one, and Law School.
Well,
which, to be fair, they knew that one was going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
However, in general, I agree. And what you're also describing in terms of the weird one and the audience stand-in is, of course, the classic double act, which which works in live comedy, stand-up comedy, and in humor writing.
Or just like in any kind of situation where you're trying to highlight a odd situation.
Yeah.
Which maybe this will come and be helpful in shenaniganing.
The shenanigan.
Did you just say the shenanigan?
What? What? Anyway. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So for the listeners, what is the original shenanigan? How does it break?
Yeah, maybe you want to explain the story.
What? How dare you? Okay. So, my book, and I'm so sorry guys for this title, Driven by Desire.
Ugh.
That's a great title.
There's a car.
That's a great title. I'm not gonna fault you for that one.
Thank you.
I'll fault you for other shit, but not this.
Did you write this after watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I did not, but possibly after Fast and Furious. The first time I watched the entire series. I'm like, oh wait, cars are hot.
Wow.
Listen, so this is a historical romance. It's set in 1911, so the Edwardian period, right before shit gets like gross with World War I. Because that's something I don't want to deal with in my stupid romances.
Fair.
Not this one anyway.
Fair.
And in that, our main characters are a wealthy American son of a miner. You know, so gold rush dude out in...
Okay, so gold mining, not other mining.
Well, it became other mining. You know, if you really want me to get into the backstory, his dad claimed land during the big gold rush, and then in the meantime found gold, and then was like, you know what, while we're here, let's actually turn this into a reasonable business that's self-sustaining.
What?
Like,
Yeah.
he sells molybdenum now.
Our wealthy American son, his name is Jack.
Of course.
Of course. Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's not be silly here. He's an American that I get to give a cowboy accent. This is amazing.
Stick it in me. I'm an American.
He is in line to get his dad's mine in later life, obviously. And he is very interested in engineering and so forth and has a lot of experience in it. But he also, his interest towards engineering is not necessarily aimed at mining, but rather at automobiles. What?
There's some cross-play with that, like engines and all that.
Indeed. So part of rewriting the beginning of the story was to actually make his journey to England make more sense. Because, of course, the rest of the story takes place in London.
Of course.
Naturally. When he was a youth.
Youths.
Ute.
A
Both of us in dignity.
An American heiress and her family came out to visit them, to talk about maybe, coming up with, business plans, as one does. Her dad, and his dad. He and this girl, go tooling around the countryside, and have a summer fling. And many years later, he, has fond memories of this, but suddenly receives out of the blue an invitation from her to wed some random British lord. This is not unheard of. The British aristocracy would often wed American heiresses to shore up the family coffers. He, with his feeling of youthful feelings and whatnot, was like, wait a second, this is opposite of what she said she wanted out of life and seems like bullshit. I should go and definitely attend this wedding and check to make sure she actually wants to marry this guy.
I can solve this problem.
Indeed. His best friend / pseudo brother, Don, is like, this is a stupid idea. And Jack's like, I'm gonna go by myself if you don't come. And Don's like, well, that's worse. So I guess I'm coming too.
I always wanted to visit London, fish and chips, those fuzzy hats. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Don is biracial. So he's like, it would be awfully nice to go and visit someplace that doesn't hate me automatically. And have an experience.
I want to be hated for who I am as a person.
Yeah. So he wants to have sort of an experience before he's concerned that he's going to end up running the mine for Jack, which is, not necessarily wrong. So he would like to have a chance to go out and experience the world while he still has a chance. So, there the two of them are on the way to London. Jack is like, you know what? I'm not just going to ruin somebody's wedding. One of the things that as part of this summer romance was that he got to drive one of the early versions of the Rolls-Royce 4050, which was, at the time, the greatest car in the world. Please see my entire gushing from the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang episode. So he got to drive that. He sees another one on the way to, on the White Star Line ship on the way to London. And he's like, I'm gonna try to find one and buy one and bring it back to Colorado. And Don's like, really? And Jack's like, yep, there's no problems with this plan. And so a lot of this is establishing the fact that he's, a wealthy son idiot. Anyway, the girl in this story is the daughter of a lord who, like a viscount, who had made rich via railway shares, as one does. He was also interested in engineering. Her mother was a chemist. He has died, and her uncle, a wicked uncle, has entered the scene. And her uncle's like, oh, dude, yeah, you thought that your dad loved you for yourself and was totally fine with the fact that you were kind of weird and, wore men's clothing all the time. Turns out, no, he was super embarrassed, and that's why he wants you to get married before he can give you any money from the inheritance. And so that's what the daughter's kind of contending with, where she's like, wait a second, my dad didn't approve and love me? And he's like, nope, real sad.
So right off the bat, is the uncle full of shit in this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
His issue is that he does not have the acumen that his brother did, for making money. And, he has tried to do something similar and has lost it all. And is, in fact, has spent against the trust funds of both, his son and his niece, our main character.
Does she eventually find a letter from her father where he talks about how much he loves her?
And how proud he is.
How proud he is and how he wants her to marry because he doesn't want her to be lonely.
Actually, it's even better, in my opinion. Don. I mean, you remember Don?
I'm not sure.
Don, the one with the business knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Don and the wicked uncle's son, Harold, end up hooking up. And Harold's like, because his dad's been pressuring him to marry his cousin, because this is England. And then if they marry, then that, that might shore up the family funds or whatnot. I don't know. I don't know, says the author. Anyway, Don's like, so wait a minute, none of you have ever actually read the will? And Harold's like, no, my dad's the executor. Why would we read it? And Don's like, oh my god, I'm surrounded by morons. And,
very pretty morons?
Very pretty morons, to be fair. So yeah, they pull out the will, and it turns out that, nope. No. Her dad left her stuff outright, so that she could continue her scientific whatever she wanted to do, because he thought she was awesome. And so, in fact, all of her memories and how much he loved her and all that stuff has been confirmed, because everything that her uncle told her was nonsense.
You think a lawyer would have been all over that?
I mean, you think. But, no.
Fair enough. Who am I to argue with the author?
Listen, man. The uncle and the lawyer met privately, and then, the uncle was the executor of the estate. So, there you go. Pretty sure that's the way law works.
I'm not sure it is, but I don't know enough to fight you about it.
And hence, therein, the delight of historical romances. So anyway. Okay. So here we go. Yeah.
It's the meet cute when somebody nearly runs the other one over with a car.
I tried that, to be fair. I did try that. It didn't quite work for me. The meet cute is where, in the original version, our wealthy American son is bored out of his gourd and has decided to randomly try to find a job in London. This was stupid. It was, like, it makes no sense. I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it enough to write it, but it was a first draft. And he ends up on her doorstep because she is looking for a driver and somebody to sell the car to. The car was left to her outright. And she's like, great, my dad giving me another reminder of the fact that he thought that I was not feminine enough. Whereas instead, this is really just her dad being like, hee, look, it's cool. You like cool things too. We were alike. Anyway, she wants to get rid of this car. She wants to sell it so that she can no longer have the reminder of her dad, and at the same time fund her various other scientific experiments, which make up the bulk of the romance, which we need not get into. By the way, it's vibrators. So, welcome to 1911. So he shows up at her door, and he's like, hi, I'm here to be your new driver. And she's like, great, I'd like you to actually do this experiment with me because I'm a scientist. And in that version, he never reveals that he's a wealthy miner's son. It comes up later so we can have a mistaken identity shenanigan in the last third of the book. Always good. However, in this version, where Jack is like, I want to buy a car. So he looks in the paper to find a car. And in this case, he meets the wicked uncle first, who is trying to sell the car out from under her because he needs money.
Yep.
Harold, the cousin, interrupts after the fact and is like, hey, if you really want to buy a car, please buy it from my cousin, who is the actual owner. They're actually quite fond of each other, but do not want to marry for various reasons. So he shows up at her door. He's not trying to hide the fact that he is a wealthy American. And she has to somehow she can mistake him for a random volunteer for her experiments in the beginning. But naturally, I would think that he would come out with this and say, by the way, you fucked up. I'm here to try to buy your car. That's logic to me. The downside to that is if he says, by the way, I'm here to buy your car, I can't figure out how to then make him transition to being her servant for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, if I can't figure out how to make him her servant for 2 weeks, I have to rewrite about 85,000 words.
Huh.
So
this is where the shenangineering comes into play.
Exactly.
So, did he bring someone with him from America?
He brought Dawn with him.
All right. And the cousin is Harold. All right.
Yeah. Her name is Con, rather.
There were a lot of names going around. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. You can also call them by their nom de plumes. Wealthy American mining son, Don. Wicked uncle, cousin.
Right.
Right.
What is, the original thing was a bet?
Yeah, so the reason why he was going around, looking for a job was that Jack and Don, John was real tired of him being fussy and decided to bet him that he couldn't find a job and keep it for while they were in London. Yeah, go on.
So I just had a thought.
Yeah.
The original reason for our Jack here to go to London was because a childhood friend of his was getting married, correct?
No, in the original, they were just here to have a good time. I mean, it made no sense.
In this revised thing,
yeah.
He's there because a childhood friend is getting married.
Yes.
I wonder if, at least, as far as what he's told, I mean, what reality could be different than what you're told because, you want, some people just want to be polite and let you down gently.
Yeah.
But maybe he gets told by his childhood love here, who is getting married, that he never really worked a day in his life. He is just a ditzy American boy. Lord Raincastle here is sophisticated. He runs this entire this entire XYZ company. He's a lord.
He's a duke, There are very few of those in England.
There are very few. And then maybe that plants the seed in Jack's mind, like, oh, I am lacking humility here. I need to prove myself because this wedding is only 2 weeks away or convenient amount of time away for me to prove myself. And then you can even put in a scene later on in the book where like there is the wedding interrupted scene where we could have the actual social status reveal of Jack to our mad scientist lady here. And also that he's just been working for her and all the, meet cute and romantic tension, all that has all been under the pretense of trying to impress some other lady who's getting married.
I like that.
What the hell?
Now, we do see her, the other lady, because, you can't say that you're going to be interrupting a wedding at the beginning of the book and not do it at the end.
If there's a wedding on the mantle, the first scene, it has to be shot.
But in that one, there is the reveal of everyone's currently. There is the reveal of everyone's identities, and our lady scientist is extremely annoyed by the existence of this other girl. But she's actually a sweetheart. I like the idea of maybe him sort of reading between the lines, and it's really about his own insecurities, which mirrors her own insecurities. Like, the reason why her uncle is able to affect her by saying, no, actually your dad thought you were terrible, is because she does have these insecurities. There's like a foothold in there. So it's quite possible that, our wealthy New York heiress, did not intend to be like, by the way, I think you're useless.
She wasn't putting him down. She was talking her fiancé up.
Yes. There we go. Which, by the way, she needs to do because, guess what? They are the topic of the second book, which I may or may not ever write.
Good job.
Thanks. Because, I'm sorry, you can't get better for a romance, shenanigan than, this is an arranged marriage for money. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Does Daddy Goldmine know that Jack ran off to England and on a fool's errand?
They left precipitously, but a letter has arrived.
Right.
And currently in that letter, he's like, the father and son have not really met eye to eye. They have very different ideas about stuff. And, he's very much like, why are you in another country? Because, by the way, here's a list of eligible girls in our neighborhood.
Why are you in another country? Reasons.
Just saying, you didn't have to go all the way somewhere else in the middle of mining season.
Although, to be fair, the eligible bachelorettes of Colorado. I mean,
listen.
Come on, London. It's metropolitan.
Listen, and Jack's like, you know what? I noticed that all these eligible young ladies happen to have land that, abuts ours. So, Dad. And by the way, don't think I don't know about how you married my mom, blah, 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 etc. Yeah, go on.
So, he's not exactly in London with permission.
Nope.
So,
yeah, go on.
So will you also have permission to withdraw funds from any bank in a foreign country?
Oh.
That's a good point.
Oh.
And so how can he buy a car outright when Jack and Dawn, upon arriving, realize that they just spent all of their money just getting there, and also
on hotels. They have to be at the Savoy for reasons. Don't worry about it.
Also on the pair, little Jack, who has since flown away already. Jack.
Oh, little Jack.
Oh, Jack. Oh,
I mean,
shit. I hadn't even thought of cutting off the family funds.
Yeah.
I imagine Don still has access to his money, but fuck no, he's not buying you a car.
Exactly. Well, because Don is not... It's very questionable within the story whether or not Don is a byblow. So whether or not they're actually half-brothers. But he's brother enough. However, he's still employed by Jack's dad.
Yeah.
So he has his separate bank account.
Yes. I like that.
Boom. Yeah. Oh, that's good, dude. Oh my god. So let's say that he's like, great, I'll buy this. I'm going to sign this contract with you. They're both happy with it. She's like, oh, it's too bad. He would have been a really great volunteer for my scientific whatever. But, oh well, at least I get rid of my car. And then he comes back the next day and he's like, so...
About that.
Yeah.
I'm a little short.
No,
but
you're
I
at least
also
6 feet.
really need to... But I also really need to get to this wedding, and I noticed you have a car. We could really help each other out in several ways.
So, this is shenanigans on shenanigans.
Oh, I mean, this is shenanigan squared. This is multiple levels of shenanigan. But
The shenanigan has no limit.
That's why it had to make sense logically. That's the only way you can build on shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, here's a question. For the case of mistaken identity,
yeah,
how averse are you to adding, say, a new character of say, the daddy? I've sent someone to mind you.
Ooh. I don't know. What would the point of the minding be? Because I feel like that's cutting into Don's position.
Yeah. I think you could tie that in, Al, with having Don maybe receive like a letter or telegraph or something from the States, and it's just like, maybe that could be like a reveal later on where it's like, oh yeah, your dad just wanted me to make sure that you were actually alright, because while you and your dad butt heads a lot, he still actually cares about you.
Oh, what? Fathers are an issue in this book. What?
What?
Everybody's got one, see? Because that's my big thing. I love, particularly when you have a book that centers around a relationship, I'm really into the idea of, their issues and their central, pathos and whatnot. Mirror, somebody say the word.
Mirroring?
Thank you. Or building off of one another. So yeah, they both have dad issues. They both worry about how their dads love them, but it's subtly different. But if one can solve one part of it, they help to solve the other one's problem, and vice versa. I mean, and so it helps build the relationship in that quick manner that's needed, frankly, for this kind of story. Because otherwise, in reality, it should take several months, if not years. And it's like, I don't know how to write like that.
Yeah.
I don't like generational stories.
Right. Then I'll just keep my advice, my shenanigan to the banks cut them off.
I like that one. I like that a lot. Because it allows for the servant thing. It takes away him,
I assume he still has enough of cash around to do pretty much everything else he needs to do. Just not enough on hand to buy
he conveniently has enough in his pocket for whatever I need him to do in the course of the story.
Yes. Like the reader doesn't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Well, or you could just be like, any single time like a major purchase has to happen, like Don just goes, I got you.
Yeah. In a sighing kind of way. Because they have their own issues, obviously. They got, family is a big thing here. And of course, his relationship with Don mirrors her relationship with Harold. That's why Don and Harold get together. Oh my god, you guys. Anyway, I spend a lot of time thinking about those things. So
Pip, do you have any shenanigans?
Yeah.
I mean, my shenanigan was just going to be changing the original nature of the bet. So it's all like, oh, you can't be a servant. Like, oh, you can't get a person to like you.
Oh, goddamn.
Oh, it was a bit nicer than that. But you use your money and connections to get people to like you, but you are likable on your own.
Oh, I see.
Just to make it nicer. And, it wouldn't matter your position in life, people would like you. It's not a money thing.
Which is something he's worried about because of the reason that the New York heiress is marrying the dude. Maybe he's unaware that the noble dude is poor as fuck.
That sounds like a line that Don would say.
Which one?
Oh, the one that Pippin just mentioned. You're likable enough on your own without money.
Likable enough, but he, instead of going for the compliment, he goes for likable enough? Here's the thing.
Taking the wrong important word.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why he's offering this position, I mean, I like the idea that he's gotten his money cut off, but possibly the reason why, for instance, he could, go back to the Savoy every evening or whatever. However, possibly he and Don are having some rough troubles. Things were fine enough when there was the status quo back home, but now they are out and about and they are realizing that, they have some rough edges that they need to deal with each other. And why do that when you can run away to be a servant? Woo! So I could see them having a kind of an argument. So instead of it being a straight up bet, it becomes like this extra thing.
Shenanigans on shenanigans.
There you go. Like an extra character motivation, if we want to use official fucking terminology.
Ooh.
But why would we want to?
Fuck that. Shenanigans. That's all we're gonna say.
Don, we're brothers. You don't treat me like a brother.
Ooh. Oh, snap, y'all.
This sounds like an argument that happens early on in the story where, we have, the New York heiress and Lord British or whatever.
Lord British.
I don't know.
I like that name, though. Lord British.
It's a reference to something else. I don't know what kind of party this is, but, a pre-wedding party.
Oh, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but there is that. And you know what it is?
A rehearsal?
No, it's even better. No, this is before the wedding. The reason why they're gonna show up at Nora's place together is because Lord British, whose actually name's Lord Bainbridge, so you were really close. Lord British has an interest in... I'm sorry. He is helping fund a showcase for various vibrators.
Wow!
Listen, she has to go with her cool new one in order to get ensure a patent license so she can sell it to a company, so she can make her money, so she doesn't need her dad's trust fund because she doesn't need her dad.
Oh.
But that's how they end up there. Meanwhile, New York heiress is like, "Oh, this is cute. You know what I'm interested in? Airplanes." So, yeah. The dude, the Lord British is, with his upcoming nuptials is moving away from, the male hysteric, side of things. And, but this is the last hurrah. He's gonna help out his buds. He's gonna run this symposium type thing. And that is what that's what our lady scientist is trying to get to. Little does our American mining son realize that, what?
I said American.
Little does he realize that, in fact, he's going to show up in front of the heiress about a week ahead of when he thought he was going to. He thought he was going to interrupt a wedding. Nope.
He's interrupting a vibrator party. Ah.
Yep.
Is he wearing a tuxedo?
He's wearing, no? Do you want him to?
Well, no, because if you're thinking you're interrupting a wedding, you want to be dressed up like you're going to a wedding.
No, that was what he was going to do. He's planning it out, but instead he shows up, frankly, a bit disheveled and, windswept, because before this there was a race. Don't worry about it. It's not important to this shenanigan. Cars. Anyway, cars are surprisingly little involved in this entire discussion, despite how incredibly important they are to the story. Right up there with vibrators.
Wow.
Anyway, yes, so there was going to be, let us say, a party ahead of time. Why do you ask?
Oh, I don't know.
Got distracted.
So it sounds like if I can get these... So it sounds like I'm going to have to add an extra half chapter in there so he can get in and out of the initial meeting. He's real happy. He's thinking about it. He's like, good, I'm going to get that car. I'm going to be all prepped. Too bad I'll never see that scientist ever again. Comes back, sees Don. Don's like, by the way, you have a fucking letter. And I have one too. What's yours say? Don't you fucking matter. Like, you read yours, cause guess what? I bet it's just as great as mine. And that's where it finds out that, he's been cut off, unless he comes home.
Did Don know that Jack didn't tell his dad?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. And that, of course, that rubs right into the whole, like, if we were actually brothers, or if you actually treated me like that, maybe you would have actually told me what you were doing.
Jerk.
Like, I didn't tell my actual dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you like me.
Or do you? And so then, the next day, he has to show up, and he's like, so... the question is, why would she be willing to... Instead of selling it for actual money to someone else, why would she be willing to take him on?
Could they have, in this prolonged meet-cute session, like, he also, like, being a minor son, happened to have, and also probably an engineer himself, too, I'm thinking you mentioned, happens to have in-depth knowledge of materials and alloys and stuff, and they just have a nerding out session where it's just, like, talking about this, that, and the other thing, like, check out this, this failed thing over here, it broke or whatever. It's like, well, you could try an alloy of copper and zinc and do this and that and heat to this much, and then that'll change the materials, yada, 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 science, or engineering in this case. Now, then you have the car selling being kind of like a pretext to hanging out more. Like, cause then she's kind of getting like a value-added proposition here where it's like, not only, is this person gonna, buy the car over the course of, working some time here, but, she's actually getting like in-depth material science knowledge out of this guy.
So I like that. There's two things. First thing is that there is technically already a value add, and it's for the romance purposes of the story.
Yeah.
Where he's a volunteer for her experiments.
Yes.
However, I really like the idea that he's also a science nerd. The downside is I'm not a science nerd. I don't know how, I only realized, and this took years of me, like, just glazing over it. It took me 5 years to realize that I had labeled vinegar as a base.
Woof.
Right? So the problem is that, unless you're willing to step up and proofread my science. Now, here's an alternate to that. What if his value add in terms of who he is as a person is being able to assist her with, like, the important things she needs to know from a volunteer, because he knows from that science perspective. But also, his dad's a wealthy mining person. What if, with connections, what if he uses those connections through Dawn to get her materials?
Oh, easy.
Less expensively or something like that.
No, because he probably has connections to operations in England and other European countries.
Yep.
Can probably get those materials at a much discounted rate. That is a definite thing you could probably do.
Yep.
The only reason why I suggested maybe some alloy knowledge at least is just reinforcing the romance subplot where it's like, they have stuff in common, because you want to build on your commonalities, and that's how you can build trust, I guess.
Yes, oh my god, but also they're an alloy. Get it? And you don't have to say it outright, it's just sort of in the miasma of the story.
They're talking about metals fusing and all that.
Oh my god. Okay.
To do on that, it's like, okay, I can't get you the money, but I can get you connections. Like, how can I trust you? You've already, what's the word I'm looking for?
Lied to me once.
Not lied to.
Misrepresented yourself.
Broke one promise.
Yeah, like something.
Broke a contract.
Yeah, like you already welched out once.
Oh yeah.
And, Like, let me do something. Like, fine. Help me out for these next 2 weeks. How about that?
Oh, not just that. He can introduce his connections to her. So he's not just the middleman. So that she has, again, it's that bolstering her up, and that's also where she's finding out that she can have a relationship with someone who, believes that she can do stuff on her own and is fine doing it in whatever mode of dress she cares to do. So he's not just the middleman, he's creating a path for her to have independence in the future.
Yeah.
Is she going to the wedding?
She actually does not know any of these two people.
Because
she's going to the symposium. She was invited by a friend of the Lord's who is also her doctor. Why?
Because I bet that at the beginning she's not going to go, but by the end he invites her along just as a friend because they've grown together, and then they're at the wedding, and he's intending to pull separate shenanigans with this other person. And then other shenanigans.
Okay, so
I don't care if you need to rewrite the end of the book too. I want this.
Damn it! Here's the thing. I wasn't going to have the wedding.
Ooh. What?
Well, in the first draft, he doesn't know anything about the American heiress. He's just showing up in London because of reasons. That's why I didn't like the first draft's version very much. He only finds her in the last part of the book where at the symposium. And then he's like, this is weird. And the wedding's supposed to happen, frankly, in the next book. That's, part of that whole, cause to me, it's a great opening chapter of like, and, do you say yes, I do? Do you say yes, I do? Great, now you're married. And then the girl looks up and's like, and I have no idea who this man really is. Or something like that.
I do like the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic beginning to a historical romance.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you have this wedding happening, like, in Act 3 of this book, you can have this MCU tie-in thing where, like, in the next book, like, you have this setup where it's like, there's this wedding going on, you might have, like, a tangential mention of the characters in the first book, but, like, they're not the focus. They're, like, the background. Like, you can have other characters talking about, like, an embarrassing thing happening over at the fruit punch bowl right now. Because that's the argument they're happening in Act 3 of this book. But, like, it's a wedding. They're just focusing on other shit.
It's true.
And the thing is, like, he never has the opportunity to do the dramatic I object thing, because maybe he learns, like, at this particular wedding custom, they don't do that, because that's weird. You're in London. You're in England. What's wrong with you?
We don't do that. I mean, to be fair, what you're describing with the MCU is what my particular favorite kinds of historical romances do, is that, that you sort of introduce, characters and the readers reading be like, oh, look at those two. And then in another book, you get to see those two, while at the same time getting to visit the first couple from the first book to see how they're doing.
I want to talk to you about the vibrator initiative.
No. Black leather. So anyway.
Wow.
However, it occurs to me, because you make a really good point about how if there's a wedding in the first act, it's got to go off in the third. It occurs to me, if he knows about the wedding from the beginning, I gotta do something with that last bit. There's gotta be a thing.
The wedding needs to happen even if it doesn't actually happen.
How do you mean?
Even if nobody gets married in it.
Yeah. Even if nobody gets married in it,
it's a location.
Can I promise that it's going to happen?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
Well, like, this is like the rehearsal dinner is Act 3, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, maybe what really needs to happen, like, because what's Jack's real purpose here? His real purpose is to talk to her to find out whether or not she's actually wanting this. Maybe that's what needs to happen. So let's say there is going to be, like, all of the guests from the symposium are staying at Lord British's house. And so there is, like, evening cocktails or whatever. And maybe that's where, he pulls her aside and is like, hey, we have to talk. Is this what you want? And then meanwhile, a lady scientist is off in the corner being like, she dresses like a girl. Once more, men in my life tell me I'm good enough, but secretly they don't think I am.
Aww.
Anyway, something like that. I don't know. It's also possible that the real trick here is to write it up, and then see where I'm at from there, and see if I need to call you guys in for another Shenangineering. But part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you guys about this is because that is, I think, one of the things that, you know, we are in group really good at doing is coming up with, well, shenanigans.
Oh, yeah.
Going like, wait, your idea is great, but my idea is better.
How can we make this more twisty? And
collaborative storytelling as a competition.
Well, and that's very much what, you know, that's the deal here, is that it was very much like the Apollo 13 problem. There's a circular thing over here, there's a square thing over here, I have to figure out how to connect the two.
Duct tape.
With only things that are on the spaceship, Brent.
It's not my fault you didn't bring duct tape.
Yeah. But I had completely forgotten the logical of, for instance, the fact that his dad would probably fucking cut him off. And you need money in order to buy a car.
Yep.
I like
That's what I hear.
Apparently.
And also, it managed to give you some brother drama, so.
Brothers drama. Yeah, not bad, guys.
Hey, Al. Fuck you.
Hey.
Hey, Pippin, it's happening. It's happening. Ooh. It never happens between them. Hey, Pip. Hey, Pip.
Yes.
Hey, Pip. Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck you too.
Fuck you. Anyway.
Whatever. Anyway.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh my god. Anyway.
And so, just because I felt like being that guy, I looked up Apollo 13 and the filter hack there.
Uh-huh.
The solution was duct tape.
Damn it! Damn it! Okay. Fucking fine.
To be fair, it also involved socks.
Yeah, I remember that.
I want to share a random anecdote of mom and dad's.
Okay.
Because it's sort of tangentially related.
Alright.
Yeah.
The time when we were all going to visit our grandmother in New York. Mm-hmm. And on the same trip, they were going to hand in their novel to their editors. Mm-hmm. And since they were all going to be in New York and they were going to do it by hand. Mm-hmm. And I think it was for their second Major World's book, Star Pilot's Grave. Mm-hmm. Partway through the trip to New York, Dad sort of turns to Mom as much as you can turn when you're driving a car and goes, "The middle doesn't work." And Mom's like, "What?" And Dad's like, "The middle doesn't work." Which is this big space fight thing. Mm-hmm. They either fought and they shouldn't have, or they didn't fight and they should have. I forget which, because I'm amazing and I remember everything. But the characters made the wrong choice, so they had to make a different one, which changed the entire second half of the novel. So we got to our grandmother's, and they shut themselves off in the back room in Douglas's old office, madly rewrote the second half of the book.
Good time. Good time.
Printed it out in such a way where they had to find a fan to blow on the printer so it wouldn't overheat.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
And that they did manage to rewrite it, print it out, and get it to New York on time, even though I imagined everyone involved would have been okay.
I mean, technically we could ask.
That's true.
Would you guys have noticed? Wait, what?
Noticed an author date on their book?
What?
But yeah, I think about that sometimes.
Okay, but the difference here is that I would have had to do it from the beginning. So
the difference here is you have time if you have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is what I'm doing right now is, so I started rewriting the front, and I got a few chapters in, and you guys have theoretically seen it, Pippin.
I opened the document, leave me alone.
But after a certain point, I realized that the level of rewriting I was going to have to do was pretty, a lot. So what I started doing was I just started highlighting so that I could keep in mind the flow of the story. So I could remember, wait, did I ever actually say this dude's name before this point? So I could think of it from the reader's perspective of, when am I starting to ask a question that maybe should have been answered before this? So I'm highlighting things I know I'm going to have to do a nitty-gritty rewrite, writing notes to myself of, don't forget to add this earlier because I'm questioning it now. And then it got to a point where I'm literally every line of dialogue, and then almost every internal thought had to be rewritten because it depended on him being a servant, in the house. As is, I'm gonna have to do some hefty rewriting so that he's a servant, but also kind of definitely not a servant.
He's a servant but proud. Like, too proud to just go back home right away with no car. Come on.
Yeah, but, like, she can't just, like, ignore him. Like, and he can't... Previously, he had to not be cheeky, because otherwise he might get fired. Now, he could be cheeky, and she could just be like, hey, do you want this fucking car or not? And he'd be like, okay. You know, there's gotta be that give and take. But I had to find a way for him to stay a servant, because otherwise, like, literally, I was watching the entire story. And the upside is that it shows that, congratulations me, I wrote a coherent story the first time. You know, where it's really tied in. You can't just change one thing and let it go. Go team me. But the downside is it makes rewriting really terrible. And it shows that a flaw in your initial logic can fuck you up. Because the flaw in the beginning is, why are they going to London? I'm like, because they felt like it? And that doesn't quite work.
Though, to be fair, it got your story started.
It got my story started. But, and it got me like 90K. And we found that there is a solution whereby we can go back and fix it so that's not, you know, dreadful. But it is something to be wary of.
Yeah.
You know, keep an eye on your logic. That's all.
Said the Vulcan to the human.
Yes.
To the barmaid.
Nice. Oh, that sounds like a good joke. Write that joke.
So I read a book, Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh, God.
Fucking fight me. Wherein the main romance is between the first son of the United States and the Prince of England.
Yep.
Like you do.
Yep.
And their trials and tribulations and trying to figure themselves out and blah, 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 blah. And in the background, the first son's sister is off flirting with their mutual best friend whom he used to date, and the prince's best friend, who has a crush on both of them. And it's heavily implied that there's a poly thing going on, and the main character just does not notice, because he's that much of a disaster.
Exactly. So I'm having a good time having the less complicated B-plot, honestly, be like the queer dudes in 1911. Because it demonstrates to the audience, like, this is normal, and over here, this is why these two are star-crossed lovers. Also, because sometimes you want, like, you're reading a romance, you want somebody to be getting some, even when the main ones are fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
You're welcome.
I think that this is, like, a really solid place for me to do some shit. They're still rewriting, obviously. There's still stuff I have to do. But I actually know what the shit to do, and it's going to be a better story. Particularly since, like, frankly, that solution also fixes a logic problem.
Yeah, no problem.
You're welcome.
So Kat.
Yeah.
Do you want us to play a game with this story?
I mean, you can't play the title game. My title's already perfect. Yeah. I'm not sure really, I realize that normally our episode format, requires a game, but I'm not really sure we need one this time, but it's up to you guys.
What game would we play?
I don't know, Laundry Day?
No, you guys don't know enough about my character. Do you guys want to try rewriting my title?
No, like, if you really like your title.
But wait, what if we can do better?
Yeah, like, there's that.
How fucking hilarious would that be?
There is that. I mean, technically, this is already a second gen's title. The first gen title was The Scientist and Her Servant. So Driven by Desire is already an improvement, but honestly, I really want to see what you guys have to say.
All right.
Yeah, let's play a title game. Just to see if we can fuck a cat.
The car is so not even in my discussion here. But it's so important. I think it's so important to the story. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I
mean, we could call it Scientific Discovery.
Okay, there's Pip.
Pip, is that yours?
Listen, I will come up with as many titles as I can.
Damn it.
Just to mess with you.
It's like playing Jackbox with you. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack in the Box.
Oh.
No. Oh, the levels. No.
The Science of Scintillation.
Let one of the brothers come up with something. My God.
Tactile Tribulations.
Driven to Distraction.
Ooh. Oh, damn it.
Oh, yeah, that.
All right, cars are still an important
Cars
thing, right?
are very important to the story. And in particular, the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost. Well, not Silver, because that hadn't been done yet, but the Ghost. The 4050 Ghost.
Science and Servitude.
Ooh. Damn it. Very Jane Austen, that one.
Good vibrations.
Fuck no.
Just such a sweet sensation.
Oh my god. Here's the terrible thing. The terrible thing is, like, if I actually manage to get an agent with this book, if I actually manage to sell this book, at some point they're gonna be like, are you wedded to that title? And I'll just pop up with a list generated from here, and they're gonna fucking like one of yours. It's so distracting.
Yeah.
So distracting.
Listen. Everything I want in life. I want my own happiness and whatever, but also I want to troll you.
I see. I understand.
A composite of sensibilities.
It's fancy.
Remember, this is not the Regency period, so as fun as it is to make Jane Austen jokes, it's not appropriate. This is more like Gatsby time.
Listen, if we can have too many dukes, we can have weird Regency titles.
Also, it's just trying to mix in alloys and feelings, basically.
Ooh. Call it that. Call it alloys and feelings.
Yeah.
An
Just alloyed
unalloyed
feelings.
feeling.
Yeah. Reverse engineering.
Alloyed pleasures.
Oh my god. That's for the erotica rewrite. Alright, so Pip's got a bunch. Bren's got one. Al, did you do?
Yeah, I did a couple.
He did good vibrations, which was great.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm very recent I did another one, but I've forgotten what it was.
I got blindsided about good vibrations, so you did
That
another
one-
one, but I forgot it.
That one was good, but awful.
I know.
Amazing.
Let's see.
Oh, guys.
Right.
The real question is here, are any of these better than Driven by Desire?
I mean, Driven to Distraction is
Driven to
really
Distraction's really fucking good, and that bothers me so much.
great. You're welcome. Cat, the words you're looking for are thank you.
How about that? Does that work? Does that work for you?
Oh,
so
no
much
regrets.
eat so much ice cream after this. So
I
much.
have some Haagen-Dazs in my freezer.
I'm not even making ice cream.
Oh, fuck. Brendan beats.
I've got Klondike bars.
Ooh, I want Klondike.
What would I do for a Klondike bar?
I've tried
Steal
to
mine.
Troll my sister? Yeah.
I've tried to teach the children that one, and they're like, wait, what's that? And I'm like, it was an ad for it. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, well, they do things like, would you wear, like, a costume for a Klondike bar? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, so it's not really a question for you, is it? And they're like, I guess not. It doesn't seem like a very good commercial. I'm like, well, talk to them about it.
Would you kill Alexander Hamilton in a duel for a Klondike bar?
No, but I would for milk for my peanut butter sandwich. Boom!
Yeah. Did you
Boom.
know Ashley had never seen that commercial?
Really? Did you know that a bunch of people were introduced to that commercial through the Leslie Odom Jr. redo of it?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the problem is that version leaves out some really important, strange comedy values from the first one.
Of course, do you know who directed the original?
Oh shit, no.
Oh, you're gonna love this. Michael Bay.
No! No shit, really?
I
I gotta tell you, the original one was genius. Like, the part where he's using oversized knife and an oversized piece of bread and an oversized jar of peanut butter.
That should tell you that it's Michael Bay. Well, also, it also has, as Michael Bay's, like, fast cuts.
You're right. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Dropping some knowledge on you guys.
fuck. And I mean, it's unfortunate they'll probably have to cut this, but damn.
Oh, well, let's tie that back
All
into
right, guys.
this.
we'll bring it back up when we talk about Hamilton.
There we go. So I have to say that, Good Vibrations is terrible. I refuse to accept it. It may be the
What
winner.
about Sweet Sensation, though?
What?
What about Sweet Sensation, though?
No. Oh my god. I think it may have won the game, but it's possible that Driven by Distraction may be in the contender of offerings that I will give if they want me to do a different title.
Or Driven to Distraction, whichever.
Yeah. Oh, Driven. Damn it. Ugh. Anyway. So angry about that, Pippin.
That is my entire weekend made. I'll be sad later, and then I'll think Driven to Distraction, and I'll just smile.
Wow. Fuck you. Alright, guys.
Nice.
That's me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
You're welcome.
All right, so that was
Shenanigans.
That was that.
driven by. That was that. Yeah.
That was Driven to Distraction.
Damn it!
Haha. And as always, if you have an idea or prompt to submit, head on over to nostoriesacred.com/submission. Follow us on Twitter at No Story is Sacred, or send an email through contact@nostoryissacred.com. Your hosts have been Alex McDonald, Brendan McDonald, Pippin McDonald, and Catherine Crichton. Editing for this episode, done by Brendan. Transcript done by Ashley DaCosta. Art by Jay Wolf. Show notes and transcript are available at nostoryissacred.com. Thanks for listening, everyone, and please rate, review, and subscribe to No Story is Sacred. You can also visit our Patreon page to support the show and get neat rewards at patreon.com/nostoryissacred. See you next time, when we're still not talking about Kate and Leopold because it's not on Netflix anymore and none of us want to pay $4 to rent it. Whoops. Instead, we're going to be talking about the musical Hamilton. Like everybody else on the planet Earth.
I like how we're not willing to pay $4 to rent Kate and Leopold, but we're clearly willing to pay $4.99 to get a Disney Plus subscription.
Well, we get so much more else with it.
Yeah, we get the Great Mouse Detective and
other
Robin Hood.
DuckTales.
Oh, the Robin Hood with foxes, the hot one.
Oh, nice. Gravity Falls, which was on Hulu already, but whatever.
And documentaries, I guess.
Maybe.
The
MCU, Star Wars.
And the what's the Scrooge one?
Christmas Carol?
DuckTales.
Christmas Carol? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the Scrooge Christmas Carol, which was previously the good one before the Muppet one came out, obviously.
Yeah, oh, no, I'm talking about the Muppet Christmas Carol. That's why it's like I was trying to remember the character and then.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Scrooge McDuck.
No, not the one with.
Anyway, the Muppet Christmas Carol. Wait, are Muppets on there?
Yeah.
Oh, Muppets are owned by Disney.
Huh.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're corporate shills.
They are.
Until then, we're No Story is Sacred, and any story can be changed. I'm Brendan.
I'm Pippin.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Kat.
And we're
No
Story is
Sacred.
Sacred.